Anne Wigmore said that the food we eat can either be the most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. It's Karen here from the Motoromers, and welcome to the latest video in our Wellbeing Resource Library series, where we are helping people to cope through COVID, where we are going to talk about the immune system and simple ways in which we can make that immune system stronger. And I think in the times of lockdown that we're experiencing, being able to eat the right foods and keep our bodies and our minds healthy is just so important. So Kate, a huge welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. You come to us with occupational therapy background as a life coach and also as a juice therapist. So I think you've got so much that you can offer us. Perhaps I can just hand over to you just for a moment in terms of inviting you to talk a little bit about food and the immune system and where you come from in terms of understanding all of these things.
Oh, hello everybody. Lovely to be with you today. And thanks, Karen, for considering me suitable to do this, because that's great. So I worked in the NHS for about 12 years and as an occupational therapist, but I've specialised in mental health and I loved it. I loved that job. It was amazing. I helped people use activity. So activity is everything we do. So it's very wholesome. So we would do cooking and art and walking and shopping and woodwork, everything you can think of. I had a huge array of clients, but they were patients then, and it was amazing. And so one of the biggest things I remember was having a smile, actually. That worked really well for me, to be welcoming and to be reassuring and to be beside people and to be real, so that I was not this expert. I could live beside them and share their despair sometimes. But today is because I transferred from that to life coaching at some point when I wanted to have another child and change my life. And I love doing that, and I still am a life coach. And at that time, I started getting very interested in juicing. A client of mine, who as a life coaching client, couldn't afford her sessions. So she said, could you do me so many sessions and I'll give you a juicer? And I was like, yeah, wow, that sounds an amazing idea. I'll have the juicer. And I was coming up I was about 48, 49, and I was beginning to feel a little bit worn and putting on a bit of weight and kind of get the menopausal stuff going on. So I got into juicing big time. I found it was the quickest and easiest way to get me full of all the good vitamins, minerals, vegetables, things that I couldn't eat the quantity of that, and my skin and my energy and my whole system. I can remember not being able to run up the stairs at one time and thinking, what's going on? I'm plodding, I'm finding it really hard, getting achy joints and things. And since I did the juicing, that has stopped. But there's been an enormous extra level of knowledge that came with doing a juice therapy course. The spin-off from that for me was something called the Alkaline diet. It makes you aware of the benefits of natural fruits and vegetables, and they are immense. They have, they're used essences and things from natural fruits and vegetables, and herbs are extracted to make medication. So the first apothecaries and herbalists and witches and everything else created medicine for us from that in the donkeys years ago time. With the current situation that's going on, we're all very, very aware that our immune system is necessary and will be challenged, and that we need to stay as healthy as we can. But we're also in a state of fear and anxiety. So there's that to balance. But I know within myself, I would swing to eating more chocolate. And unfortunately, chocolate is one of the things that you can't just eat masses and masses of. You can eat a good bit of chocolate, and if you do, don't kill you don't get over the top and worry about it, because you can offset this. So it's about balancing and making the life work as best you can.
Yeah.
And not to feel guilty, because guilty is a very stressy emotion, and stress is one of the worst things for making you acidic. So underneath all of this that I'm talking about, this alkaline approach, it fits into my experience as an occupational therapist in the NHS, because the things that create acidity in the body include stress, fear, guilt, anger, all those things, which we can feel at the moment because we are shut in our houses and we get annoyed. So if we can kind of find a way to actually reduce those emotions, that's great. And sometimes, because the locus of control, the thing that's in us that we decide what we're going to do with our lives, has been taken over slightly, that we feel a little bit out of control in ourself, because the government is controlling us, and lots of people find that very difficult. The alkaline approach reduces inflammation in the body, and the body, what we call homeostasis, the thing that balances all the workings of our body, the enzymes, the cells, the hormones, everything works within a pH level, which you'll know from school with those little litmus papers. The alkalinity is really super, super good for you to avoid inflammation, which is paramountly responsible in changing your blood chemistry and your pH levels within your cells to an acidic reading. Inflammation is the thing that's underlying strokes, heart disease, diabetes mellitus, osteoarthritis, all the sort of long-term degenerative diseases that we want to avoid if we can. If we can reduce the acid intake of our food, then that's really helpful. Try to go for the fresh, live, growing things.
Yes.
Like fruits and vegetables, and some of those particularly, which I'll tell you about later. And then have less of bread, pizza, some of the meats, and how you cook them makes a difference. Some of the things that we love, all the things that we love, the coffee, the chocolate, the cakes, the sugar, loads of olive oil. Olive oil is good if you don't heat it. If you heat it too high, if you're cooking with it and you fry and it's really hot, it turns into a trans fat, which is really not good for your arteries. So it starts furring up your arteries, you get arteriosclerosis, and that leads on to other things, high blood pressure. But there are other oils that are easier and work brilliantly, things like coconut oil.
I use that. I must admit, if I need a chocolate fix, I've got cacao powder, I've got coconut oil, and I've got honey. So I actually combine those, put some sultanas or some oats in, and the coconut oil, once it's lightly heated, then when it's cooled down, gets nice and solid, doesn't it? So it's a perfect chocolate treat. Which has got less additives in it. So for me, that's so much better than the shop bought chocolate.
So we'll start with drinking water. Well, firstly, we are made up of 70% of water. So it makes sense that we need a lot of water to maintain that. One of the things that I do is every morning I have a mug with a couple of slices of lemon in, like that, and I have boiled the water and I've let it go off a bit, but I often put a little bit of cold water in the bottom and top it up with hot water. So it's warm, because it gets absorbed really quickly. It stimulates our liver to go into action to get rid of toxins that we might have had. And it also stimulates our gut, and peristalsis starts, and that churns up all the stuff in there. And it keeps you regular, so it stimulates that too. So everything gets woken up by the lemon.
I often talk to my mum about drinking more water. The approach I took with her once upon a time was, your beautiful plants in your garden or in your house, how do they look so healthy? How do they thrive? And she said, well, I water them. And I went, so if I have to water my plants for them to thrive, surely I need to do the same for myself.
And we should aim really to drink 1 litre a day minimum, plus our drinks. So if I have a cup of coffee, I have at least this full with the cup of coffee. But the way I do that is to link it to a habit. So in the morning when I brush my teeth, I have a glass of water. then when I have a cup of coffee, have another glass of water. But the thing I do is I've got a litre carafe.
Yeah.
And what I do is I put in a drop of lemon oil and a drop of peppermint oil,
Nice.
which make my water more alkaline. And it has lots of other wonderful effects. So I use essential oils as well. And I have this whole litre then, and I drink that through the day.
Yeah.
And I get through it, I drink more than that actually through the day. But if I can drink a litre, I feel good.
Yeah.
And I try to drink more in the morning, a bit less in the afternoon, and much less in the evening, so that it doesn't affect my sleep. Because if you drink loads of water in the evening,
Yeah.
you're going to have to get up in the night.
What I do, I mean, my mug is a pint mug. So I know if my first drink of the day is warm water and lemon, there's a pint of it. Once I've had that, with one more, I've had my 1 litre.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Anything over that, it is a bonus. And because I know that this is a pint mug, I can keep track of what I'm drinking. So that's my habit.
Our next thing is alcohol. Now, I'm not suggesting you give up alcohol. What's interesting is about when we choose to do something different and we change that, we then see the freedom in it. There's a huge amount of freedom. I can do whatever I like, whenever I like. I don't have to worry about driving anywhere, anytime, at all. And I'm happy, and I'm no different. I'm no different than I was before. If you fancy having a glass of wine or a gin and tonic or whatever, but to reduce it at the moment, because alcohol does affect your immune system quite a lot.
In what way?
Well, alcohol reduces the ability of something called macrophages. So they're the ones that are like amoeba, the single cell thing we all learned about at school, where they imbibe, they catch the virus and they enclose it.
Okay.
And they fight it, and we don't know with this one particularly exactly how it all works, but our immune system uses macrophages to do this. And alcohol reduces their effectiveness.
Okay. Lots of people watching are going to be potentially horrified at the thought of not drinking alcohol, because it's one of those go-to comfort things that off how we're feeling. So in terms of how we keep our immune system boosted, I hear what you're saying, drink less of it. Although, what sort of habits could we be adopting that are healthier around alcohol?
I would just keep an eye now, thinking about it, how much you're drinking. And maybe think about what's going on. What is it is it just a habit? Or and does it mean that you have to have that to feel like you're relaxing? So sometimes we sit down because we think, oh, have a drink, sit down. So it's about creating the treat. It's the treat. It's the giving you something to make you feel special. This is a special time for me to honour myself, to look after myself, to give me space to just relax and be sociable. I would just monitor how much you're drinking and see if you can maybe change down to a few days or a day less periodically, and then a lesser number of drinks, and take it and water them down a bit more. So have more tonic, drink water in between, a glass of water with your glass of wine, not drinking at the same time. Maybe have your wine and then drink your water, because that will offset the acidity of alcohol. If I think of the alkaline foods, I think of this, because I'm not advertising this person, but this was a good, look at that image.
Nice. Yes.
And this is acid alkaline food chart. Now, some of them can be a bit scary when you look at them and think, oh, grief. But you don't need to be scared by them. And also if you're a perfectionist, you'll start looking at it and say, well, where do mushrooms go on this? And well, why are they in there? And on this chart, they're not there, and all this stuff. So we're not going to get into that. With me, I make it very simple. There are some things that are super duper good. So things like cruciferous vegetables. So all the cabbages and the broccoli and the cauliflower, those ones, they have sulforaphane, which is really good. It's anti-cancer and all sorts of things. They are your big ones. They are amazing. Spinach is fantastically alkaline. you can make stir fries with all of those, and it cooks them really quickly, so they don't lose all their goodness. They can be grated. You can grate broccoli. So you can grate raw broccoli and put it on top of your salads. It's great mixed in with a dressing or whatever. Yeah. Or I've got a spiralizer, so things like cucumbers and carrots and sweet potato. You can eat sweet potato raw.
Yeah.
So you make it into spaghetti, and you can get little ones from Lakeland.
Yeah.
And loads of other places online. So you can make fantastically healthy spaghetti. So when I'm making the green soup recipe, which I'm going to give you at the end, chuck in loads of spinach when it's stopped cooking. That's my go-to thing, is my green soup recipe, which you will have, which has got courgettes, well, basically anything green you can find, onions and garlic. It's got bouillon, which is a nice vegetable stock. You put it in a liquidizer or use a stick to do it, and the spinach goes in at the end. Watermelon. So if you're somewhere sunny, watermelon is super duper. It has something called citrulline, which is good for heart function, vitamins A, C, B6, and lycopene, which is the thing that's good for prostate. And it supports all those, support the immune system. Right. All citrus fruits, they're amazing. They've got lots of vitamin C. Cinnamon is a really good thing, because I said about cutting down on sugar. Cinnamon is how we used to sweeten stuff in the old days when we didn't have sugar cane and everything. Cinnamon is a sweet thing. So adding cinnamon to things will sweeten it up, and you don't need as much sugar. So that's quite useful. So when we're talking about this alkaline acid thing, the gold standard is 70-30.
Okay.
I don't do that. You can be 50-50 if you're very acidic. 50-50 would be great, or even 60-40. You know, whatever you can do, it doesn't matter.
Just so we can balance it up. Tell us about the worst acidic food that we might be consuming, because it's a comforting type of food for the moment.
Ready-made things are quite acidic. So pasties and pies and buns and cakes.
Yep.
And bought foods they tend to hide sugar inside them. Bread, we love bread, don't we? You know, it's really nice. Hot cross buns and so all these things are gorgeous. You can have them, but you just can't have them all the time. Just have one hot cross bun and feel great and enjoy it with some butter on. Now, butter isn't actually bad for you. Butter's all right. Butter's good. So there are lots of dairy things. Cheese is another one that people tend to get a bit hooked on, and crisps because of the salt and stuff like that. But I think, you know, you can get less salty crisps. You can get healthier crisps. Give them a go. Meats, obviously, fatty pork, sausages. If you get organic and it's not so fatty, then it's okay.
Organic meat might be quite tricky, just until I'm thinking about budgets at the moment. If people are furloughed or they've perhaps lost their jobs, so you know, we tend to you know, the go-to, don't we? It's a fairly cheap meat. Where's that on the alkaline acid scale?
Okay, so the things that are probably the better things are the leaner meat. So now, with the immune system in mind, poultry, meat and fish, and obviously all the pulses, but that's separately, they're all really good. So, but maybe not as much as we used to. So in my old me would have a whole chicken breast, okay, for a meal. Now that was yummy and lovely, but I don't do that anymore. We would say probably have half a chicken breast, and that's more than enough. And if you cut it up and you stir fry it in coconut oil or olive oil low, it's quite nice to use coconut oil because you can brown things in that. You can get it really hot. That is brilliant. The same with fish, or bake it, however you want to do it. So ginger, the root ginger is really, really good. So you don't want to have to be, if you buy root ginger, it lasts for a long time. It's better in the fridge in a paper bag. If it's in a paper bag, it seems to last better. But you can put it into stir fries. But the other thing that you can do is you can take a bit, peel it, slice it up a little bit, and put it in your hot lemon.
Love
And
that.
that infuses that,
Right.
and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And also in lots of recipes, sort of stir fries and things like that, and curries and all these things. So often ginger is a really good thing to incorporate because it's anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterial. It's a natural antibiotic. It's incredible. So another one, turmeric or turmeric, however you want to say it. You can buy fresh root, but not that straightforward. I mean, a lot of supermarkets have it, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But to supercharge your immune system, it will dye your fingers bright orange, dark orange. So be careful, wear gloves if you're going to use it. It's got really anti-inflammatory qualities for the lungs. So for the lungs in particular, turmeric powder is good.
Really?
It works. I mean, I've recommended it for so many people now because for joint pain, that will be a real first aid kit thing, really, is to take turmeric.
And especially at the moment when the pollen's high. I was listening to a report yesterday on Radio 2. Pollen is so high, so people are sneezing and coughing and feeling very wheezy. They're not sure if it's COVID or whether it's just hay fever. Whichever it is, I'm guessing turmeric is going to really help.
Turmeric and ginger.
Yeah.
If I was juicing, I would be doing apple and ginger shots.
Lovely.
So they're amazing for hay fever and asthma. The only thing with turmeric is you shouldn't take turmeric if you're on statins. So if you're on statins for your heart disease or your high blood pressure or whatever, or if you take anti-diabetic drugs, to lower your sugar levels, or if you're iron deficient. So if you're iron deficient, if you've got anemia or pernicious anemia or anything, or if you have gallstones or bile obstruction. So you have to be a bit careful with turmeric because it thins the blood as well. Chilies are really good for your immune system. They contain vitamin A and vitamin C. So are red, orange and yellow bell peppers. These are fantastic for the mucous membranes. And that's what we need, our mucous membranes to be working well, to create mucus, to get rid of the diseases before they even get into us. Shiitake mushrooms. Now, if you find any, you see them in the shop. Shiitake mushrooms are amazing for our immune systems. Powerfully increased sugars called polysaccharides that will increase your white blood cells. So your white blood cells are the ones that your immune system fighting to keep you healthy. Coconut oil has lauric acid, which is antiviral. So you get a pot of coconut oil, it's about £7 these days for a fair size. And you can use it for everything. You can use it under your arms for deodorant. You can put it on your hair. You can put it on your face, on your body. But actually cooking in it is amazing, and taking it in. So you can add it to things easily because you can cook with it. And you can use it to make all those lovely, yummy treats as well because it goes solid. We need these things with zinc at the moment. Supports the immune system to break down proteins in viruses to stop them spreading.
Wow.
And you can get it in prawns, meat, dairy, eggs, whole grain, seeds, beans. They're not all alkaline, but they can be part of your ratio. To have a big vegetable thing, a little protein and a little carb is a good way to look at it. We need to include oily fish for the omega-3s.
Yes.
So we've got your salmon, herring, sardines and trout. But for people, also you can use flaxseed and walnuts, but also seeds like sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds and soya if it's ethically grown. Avocados and almonds and all these other nuts that are good, which are cashews, peanuts, pecans, pistachios. They're all great. So they give you protein and they give you omega oils, which are really good for you.
Okay, let's try and do a summary of the alkaline stuff, because it sounds like it's a really important thing to keep our immune system boosted, particularly in this period, although actually as a life habit.
Well, yeah.
So we're saying fresh fruit and vegetables are good on the alkaline. Try and avoid pastas, your breads, your pasty, so anything that's processed with
Yeah.
flour. Your oils, olive oil and coconut oils are good. So we can almost see a separation, can't we, from the processed foods versus the live foods.
But also the alkaline diet includes meat and fish, and it's not a vegetarian diet. The thymus gland, which is situated 3 ribs down, around there. So 1, 2, 3, go in, and there's a little hollow in your chest above your boobs, and you've got that little hollow there. It doesn't really matter where, so use your fingertips there, and then you just tap.
Just there, okay, yeah.
And it vibrates it, and it's vibrating your thymus gland, which produces white blood cells.
Oh, wow.
And it actually is so important to do this we're not over 65 yet. Lots of people are. And over 65, it doesn't produce it unless you do this tapping.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's so simple.
Have we got some hydration tips? We've got some alkaline food tips, and also some practical things we can do to stimulate our immune system.
Yes.
We take in, and of course, as we know, what we eat is what we are, what we become. So how amazing that we've got some really simple things that don't cost a lot of money, that are actually almost free to do with your water and your tapping.
Yeah.
It's going to boost our immune system through this, particularly through this really difficult time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh my God, this has just been so amazing. Just different tips and some things that maybe we haven't thought about buying before, that actually are really easy to get in most mainstream systems.
They are, yeah.
And we're in control, aren't we? We're actually controlling how our body operates at a biological and chemical level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the mental, something about the determination, about determining to take control of how healthy you are, what you can do right now, and then that will help you if you do get anything. Yeah.
I think this is so important. If we can take control of how we feel mentally, physically, and we can boost our immune system, we're actually taking back control, and that is so important.
That's it.
Oh, this has just been so inspiring, and it's reconnected me with my love of nutrition as well. And for that, I really thank you.
Oh no, it's great. It's great. I love it because I don't live a nutritionist life. I live a normal life. I love to do this, and I love to share this. So it's been a pleasure, and I'm really happy you asked me to do it. And thank you.
It's so fascinating. We could talk for hours about this stuff. We have got some handouts which we'll make available on the website. And I think it's also really important, Kate, just before we close off for today, is to say that if anybody out there in the UK would like, after COVID has been and gone, would like to come for a juice retreat or to your B&B, we need to be able to tell them where you are. So please, a quick 60-second plug for your farmhouse.
Right. Well, firstly, I'm not doing juice retreats at the moment.
Okay.
But if you come for Airbnb, I give you juices for breakfast, but other stuff too. You know, a breakfast that includes juices. So you get to try them. You don't have to have them. So we are Sandwell Farmhouse, and we are in just outside Totnes, kateharrislifecoaching.com. And there's a page about the Airbnb on there. So
thank you for being a big contributor to getting our immune systems healthy. We really appreciate it.
Great. I'm so happy to be able to do that. Love you. Love you, Kate.
Thank you. So hopefully, guys, you feel as inspired as I do, thanks to Kate's talk. And I expect to see you rushing into your kitchens, finding those rainbow colours to make yourself feel healthy and be back in control. So this is Karen from the Motaromas signing out for now, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.